So summer is gone, leaving no epitaph. It's still warm in the sun, only that's not enough. All that true could have come like a five-fingered fluff folded into my palm, only that's not enough. No evil was slighted in the good aftermath, world was festively lighted, only that's not enough. Life forever was tucking, caring, making me laugh. I was really lucky, only that's not enough. No leaves ever seared, no limbs broken rough. Day, like glass, washed all clear. Only that's not enough. The production of Andrei Tarkovsky's fifth narrative film was cut short after the footage for part one of the film, shot on experimental Kodak, failed to develop. An entire year of work was lost. Tarkovsky, discouraged and disheartened, took a year off production and considered ending his film career. When Mosfilm agreed to fund the second half of the film, Tarkovsky, wounds still fresh, reworked the script and returned to the production. In this new version of the script, the character of the Stalker had developed from a hustler, a man of the earth, into a holy fool. A holy fool whose vocation is to guide those who are lost in despair through the twistings and turnings of the mysterious zone, to guide those in the hopes of bringing these lost souls happiness through the fulfillment of their deepest desire. A holy fool who thinks himself the only man left who truly believes, and wants nothing more but to bring others to this sacred gift. Today, the cinematographological gang embarks on a journey, with Tarkovsky as our guide, as we discuss one of the Russian auteur's very own sacred gifts, Stalker.
And that's our song. Thank you, Stephen. Welcome to the Cinematographologically Speaking podcast. Big shout out to John for that wonderful intro. Big applause.
Yeah.
Good job, John.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. So, we're skipping names because you know the crew by now, all our loyal listeners.
Well,
But we're missing Jacob. He's lurking in the shadows here, somewhere in the underworld, listening in, but he didn't watch the film because he's a naughty dog, so he's not joining us today. But we do have a special guest, Tony.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, guys. I hate watching movies, but I thought I'd watch one for you guys. And it happens to be Stalker.
Excellent news. We're so pleased to have Tony joining us. Tony heard there's some kind of you watched it under some kind of funny circumstance.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not that much better than Elsmore. I'm not that much better than Spark Notes in high school.
yeah, you have like broken earbuds. Were you watching it like?
Watched it 480p. I started running out of time, so I had to put it on 1.5 speed.
Oh,
I almost got fired at work today. It's not a good day, but thanks for inviting me.
Oh
Okay.
no.
You have been excluded for all.
No, that's all right. At least you came forward early.
Yeah.
You're not lurking and lying.
Thanks.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he's an honest
I
man.
did
Just
watch it though,
like-
just really fast.
You are the fool. You're the honest fool. You're just like the Stalker, Tony.
Thank you. I am become
Yeah.
Stalker.
Yeah.
Destroy your world.
Yeah, there's
Move zones.
a
All right.
Stalker in all of us. Thank you. But all right.
All right, so we'll do brief thoughts and then we'll get into it. So I'll start. So this is like my fifth or sixth viewing. Really like it. I think I pick up on things each time. It's definitely like a super interesting film, and I don't know. We'll talk more about it. It never seems to like, hit me deep in the bones or anything, but it always seems super good, super right. And this time I had a lot more thoughts about sort of like the idea of desire and things like this, and just getting lots of like piano teacher like similarities, if that's an appropriate comparison, but that's me.
This is the first time I watched the film, and I liked it quite a lot. I've seen 3 Tarkovsky films now, and that was the and yeah, I think this is my favorite thus far.
This is my first viewing. Pretty good. I loved the landscape. What a great place to film a movie.
Yeah.
It just felt so awesome and immersive, just in terms of the world that we're entering. And it's so fitting given that the whole point of the film is this analogy between the world, or like the zone, a place, and what is desired. So that's awesome. That's just something that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this movie. Always in a state of like anticipation or something. I love the transitions, all those tracking shots. Love it a lot.
So also my first viewing, first Tarkovsky as well.
Whoa.
So, you know, I really liked it. I'm trying to be more generous in my film watching experience. And I thought there's a lot of interesting parts to it that I like felt were really like true. And then some parts I was like, I don't know if I'd agree with that, but we'll get into it.
Well, this is my first time watching Stalker. I gotta say, this is the worst Tarkovsky's film I watched, but it's also the only Tarkovsky's film I've ever watched, so I guess it's the best too. It felt more like an experience than a movie. People say that he's the knockoff Kubrick, but I don't know, I think it might be other way around. I really like this film.
Base take. Yeah, the phrase is like the West made 2001 and the East made Solaris. Yeah, Steve, just as John mentioned, there's a lot of production issues in his intro, the film stock and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's shot at this like chemical waste plant, and I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about decay and this whole world of like this almost apocalyptic setting, and but a bunch of people on the production crew and stuff died from illnesses related to shooting this film at that location, and like
Whoa, that's gnarly.
yeah, a bunch of them died of like the same thing. Tarkovsky is thought to have died as a result of filming there, the main actor, all that stuff. So oh, I forget. I thought
Based.
Oh yeah, just because everyone's talking about best, worst Tarkovsky. This is obviously not his best because he made Sacrifice, which is not just his best, but the best. Just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Okay.
The best movie?
Yeah, it's the best movie.
Okay.
Thanks for
All
letting
right.
us know.
What am I wasting my time with this one?
Yeah, I'm just keying you in on some hot tips. All right, so the viewers, our loyal viewers, keep writing to us saying that they're annoyed that it takes us so long to get really into the thick of things. So hopefully I've got some nuclear weapons grade commentary that's gonna get us in there faster.
I'm really thankful.
Yeah,
for that.
yeah. Now it kind of comes off as cringe, but I feel like some fruitful topic would be like, to put it first most generally, who is the stalker? In particular, with reference to, right, we have the stalker, the scientist, or the stalker, the professor, and the writer, where the professor is the scientist, really. And these sort of fill these archetypal roles and represent some type of attitude in like a very like Dostoevskian embodiment or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll have a lot of interesting things to say about those roles, because I think in a lot of ways they are not what you would imagine. Like in many ways, the writer resembles a modern scientist, and the scientist resembles a writer, and things like this. But who is the stalker? Is he, as John sort of alludes to in his intro, is he the artist? Is he is he, he refers to himself as a louse, but yeah, I have a suspicion that the stalker is the artist, or
Okay.
or the stalker as as the teacher, like he was taught by a stalker. He's the
Right.
teacher, he's the artist, he is the prophet, if you want to make it more theological. Yeah, so that's what I was hoping we could start with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely on board with that. I definitely got like real shamanistic vibes from the Stalker. And then I found it interesting how he was like the teacher, but obviously there was someone who was an actual professor in the group. Um, of course, they like through their own sort of like intellect that they managed to be unable to completely grasp the faith required in order to like partake in this endeavor. When I was watching it, I was definitely getting like Kierkegaard vibes, like Abraham vibes.
Classic.
But I'm just like, just trying to pull from what I know, and I know like 3 things, so that's it.
Yeah, me and Steven were talking earlier, and Steven mentioned that
Stephen and
while like the writer, you'd expect the writer to be kind of the embodiment of like Tarkovsky's conception of himself or something as like the artist or something like that, but that the stalker appears to be more so like his self-insert, which I mean self-insert might be a little too crude, but generally speaking, I think that's correct.
Mm-hmm. It definitely becomes more pronounced in the end, I think. Like
Definitely.
when the stalker is revealed to be mega based reader, and
yeah,
like
dude, the
just
reveal of that
totally,
like library
yeah,
or
the big
whatever, like
library.
that wall.
Ooh, I'm Tarkovsky. I'm so smart. And just like rips into like the whole milieu of intelligentsia or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Steven, what do you got?
Huh?
Hit us with it. Give us the juice.
This movie sucked, dude. Look, dude, what about it could I not have just gotten out of Brothers Karamazov? Tell me.
The landscape.
True.
Yeah, the landscape.
Well, first off, no one read that book, so
Maybe that's why. Oh, you're talking to a couple readers of that book. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say right now.
Okay.
John kind of already said what I thought for me. No offense to John, I appreciate that.
No, all accolades to John. Okay, well, was anyone else surprised? Yeah, I mean, I think it was surprising that the writer didn't come off as like too much of an artist, really. But also, right, we're introduced to the writer when he's talking to that woman, and he's basically sort of engaging in this like demystification of the world and how it's all triangles, it's all right. There is no mystery left,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just right this sort of soy jack, I love science type
Yeah, I
attitude.
fucking love science.
Yeah,
Attitude. Yeah.
and then the scientist is sort of this superstitious, he like in terms of doubt, the scientist never really expresses any, whereas the writer is the one who is constantly like, well, is this even real? This is a bunch of baloney. You guys are just superstitious and ridiculous.
And I don't know. It was strange because like that sort of would lead me to believe that the scientist would be able to like enact more faith in the process, but clearly he struggled with that as well. But I think it is worth noting that the fact that the person who isn't the scientist is like fulfilling like the I fucking love science archetype. And this is like a bit of a stolen idea, but like those types of people tend to like be more about like debunking, while like the scientist tends to be more about like discovering and trying to like act and like build upon something greater. So in some sense, like the scientist, the true scientist, is somebody who is enacting towards an ideal and is acting more, I don't know, like you could say like religiously or something like that, while the person who isn't even a scientist but will is still in this ethos of like what's the word,
Intelligentsia.
intelligentsia is the person who I don't know, is much more like atheistic and despite not even like even properly being part of the field, sort of like LARPing as a smart person.
Yeah, like they watch Neil deGrasse Tyson or something. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you look at like, you know, the heads of the scientific world or whatever, especially like, you know, like Schrodinger and Einstein and all these people, what, like mid like at the start of 19th century prior, like all these guys are talking about how like they're in the search of God, and you know, Einstein's talking about like Einstein got all mad about some quantum theory because he's like, God doesn't roll dice, and they all see themselves as like trying to like investigate the mystery of life. Whereas now it's sort of like a lot more about like demystification and debunking.
Right.
I think I totally agree with all this that it's present in the film, and the distinction between the two characters, types of scientists or something like that. But in my mind, we're given a justification or some sort of like expositional relationship when the professor is on the phone and he receives the phone call, and there's this moment of extreme like human vulnerability and like fragility or something like that, because it's something like, you slept with my wife or whatever.
Yeah.
You see that underneath whatever, like there's an explanation for why he is not adopting this very like cringe, just, you know, debunk idea or something like that. It's because he has this ultimate like I don't know, like earth-shattering experience that likely compels him to do whatever it is he's going to do, and that is, in this case, you know, pursue, you know, what he truly desires or blow it up, whatever. You know, there's some sort of like connection between trauma and like transcendence or something like that.
Yeah, like my understanding of the scientist is that he never intends to go into the room, but rather he only went to destroy it. And then like they have that whole thing about, yeah, like what you're saying, his true motivations, like sort of like he has this sort of like top down explanation of why he wants to destroy it. And it's sort of like revealed, I guess, prior in that phone call that like he's perhaps motivated by like these academic rivalries with his peers and stuff like this, and like his wife.
Yeah, and like ultimately like really human issues and like kind of petty, but not necessarily petty, but more like very relatably petty, something like that.
Yeah, I think,
I mean, petty relative to the grand scheme of things. You know?
kind of going off of what you guys are saying, there's like a foreshadowing moment right when they enter the zone and we transition to color, where the stalker is like bathing in the grass, he's laying down, and the other two are sort of I don't really know what the right word would be, but like kind of joking or like hypothesizing about what it is they're gonna find. I just noticed there was like a big, I think this kind of goes with what you guys were saying. It's like a juxtaposition between
like they weren't like mystified by like the landscape, and things like that. Like they're continuing to like intellectualize, and like not give themselves up to like the beauty of, I don't know, like existence or something like that.
They, and then, at the end he says you have to believe in it. You have to believe in what the room can do.
Also, with that, like the stalker, like they're both there, the professor and the writer, they're both there like for the room, right? So like they haven't like quote unquote like arrived yet, and so they don't see where they are as anything special. Whereas like the stalker, like his whole purpose is to guide them to the room or whatever. But the zone is like the zone itself is like I don't know. He's got like a more holistic view of the place that they are or something, in that he has already like arrived at what matters for
And
him.
then, right.
This scene of him
Right,
in
so-
the grass is crazy. And
And
there's like
so,
a little
like-
inchworm on his finger.
And then
oh
so, like,
yeah, so good.
like the argument could be made that like the room isn't exactly what it should be like appropriately desired, and rather it's like the journey or something like that, because like the
friends you make along the way.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
that's
so,
something
that's so
along the
cute,
way.
dude.
like the writer was like, oh, you know, who have you ever like even been to the room? Like like why did Porcupine kill himself if the room was so, you know, epic? It's like, you know, there's like the person, the biggest advocate for this place like doesn't even go there. It's never even been there. So like, what's the deal?
Well, I mean, it definitely is like a, you know, it's the climb type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's definitely like journey as arriving, but it's not so clear to me exactly what you mean about what you were saying about the room. But instead of clarifying, I want to come back to this conversation about when they arrive, right? So like, obviously we have this huge shift from sepia to color. Like what, like, do you sound like Steven has something to say, but like,
Right.
yeah, like what's this all about? Because obviously they're arriving in the zone, but I think Steven was sort of mentioning, maybe you have more you want to say, but this idea of like the zone as this place, I don't know, the distinction between the zone and the surrounding modern world, as well as like something I hadn't noticed before, but I caught this time, is like when it's doing one of those sepia pans. I think there's only two, but there's like it's when they have fallen asleep and they're taking their break, and it's panning over the water, and we see various artifacts. You know, I think it goes like, anyway, the first thing you see is fish in the only living things you see in the zone are fish and the dog, and of course the main characters.
And plants.
The only
Sorry.
the only
Sorry.
like yeah no. Anyway, but you see these. Anyway, there are these fish in this kind of like, imagine like a, I don't know, like a big bowl or something, but it's sitting in the water and it's filled with water. So there are fish in this glass container, but they can't get out of it. But they're still in this body of water. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So I thought there's like something about this, like some implication of like the zone as being no different than that surrounding it, and I don't know. I'm just not sure on this, what this whole sepia to color shift is, other than like the zone is this place of like story, because it seems like nothing. I don't know if I'm like, if this is a super obvious point or something no one is thinking about, but like is the room even legit, right? Like in the end, when they're at the threshold, like Brody was just saying, they realize that all the mythos and the legend of the zone and people who have been there and this whole thing, all this information originates with the Stalker. Like there's no collaborating information, right? And so really, is it just this, you know, elaborate story made by the Stalker so as to garner belief and mystery and hope and things like this? Like, is there really any danger or any mystery? Like, does anything spooky even happen?
Right. Well, what I'm sure is so alluring is the fact that the military exists to protect it. And if we think of the military not as like an actual embodied military, you know, it's not like the military. They are in some sense like a metaphorical blockade towards this fantastical thing. So there is something alluring whenever you just put it's exactly like with a child, you say you can't do this, or you put a lock on the door. Now the kid wants to get into the door. And so it is the very nature of obstructing something that creates this fantastical desire for those that wish to get in. And then once one is inside, whatever, they get in. But then the ironic thing is that once they get into the zone, well, it doesn't stop there. I mean, now there's this elusive room as well. So somehow the desire is able to maintain its elusiveness. It's able to maintain its elusiveness even after you you unlock the door that mom told you not to go into. So there's something interesting about desire in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes even deeper. I mean, just a quick point, like, we don't know what, like, given that all information originates with the Stalker, like, there's no actual indication that what they're guarding is even this building, right, or this room, or this whatever, right? It could be all sorts of things.
Right.
But yeah, and then desire. So not only a desire within the zone, but it's localized to this room. And then when you get to the room, right, the desire is not in the spoken word, right, but it's in your innermost thoughts. Like the desire like lies deep within the psyche. And this is where they're like truly afraid to go. Like, well, again, I think it's debatable if the scientist, I don't even think has interest in going inside. He just wanted to blow it up. Changes his mind when he realizes, because like they're having this conversation about the elusiveness of desire, right, and how like Porcupine went in hoping to bring his brother back, but really just got money. And like and I think this gave the scientist pause, because he's like, true, why do I even want to blow this up? Like, do I even understand my motivation? But yeah, like these concentric rings of desire being further and further hidden away, and to the point where you're afraid of, like, it's so deep within yourself that you are afraid or something.
There's also, it's kind of interesting. So we watched the writer, who's the first person who takes the leap to go break away from the pack and approaches the room, and then is told to go turn around. It made him stop. Something made him stop. The room made him stop.
Well, that is the spooky thing.
Right, of course. But what's interesting is that it's not the professor. You would think perhaps the professor would, since the professor just wants to blow it up. But no, the professor sees the writer come back or whatever. And not only that, the professor, barring the time he goes back for his rucksack, he goes back for his backpack or whatever, he plays along to the myth. It's so funny that he wants to blow something up that it's as if he believes it has the most power possible. So he is the greatest believer in it, that he would even want, because not only does he want to blow it up, he will go through the mythological steps to approach the thing and get inside, because he desires so badly to destroy it, which means he believes in it so much. It's pretty interesting in that sense. I don't know.
But yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, he's the most sold, right? And he plays along the whole time, other than to get his rucksack, which is his true mission, right? The 20 kiloton bomb. I wish I knew how big that is. How big is Little Boy or whatever? But Stalker says he's not a believer, right? Like, so he believes in it, but he doesn't like have faith in it or something,
right? Yeah.
Like he believes in its validity, but not its like its utility or something.
Yeah, like he believes it does something, but maybe like nothing good or something like that.
Yeah, like he sees it as a sword of Damocles type of thing, right? Damocles or whatever, where like, sure, this like great powerful thing could exist, and I believe that it exists, but the question is whether or not we would even want to live under that type of thing.
Right.
So it's like potentially, which is very Grand Inquisitor-y, as far as like breaking it apart. But yeah,
that is true. I hadn't thought about that. And this is all against like the backdrop of like, right, the USSR, Soviet, just sort of this like dominant anti-religious view, no?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like if he's meant to be, some scientist, then yeah, that is a very Grand Inquisitor thing. It's like a very power thing. Right. Yeah. Where it's not like they're like, look,
you're placing yourself above the transcendent.
Yeah.
As well. And like that what it is that you could supplement it with, science, philosophy, whatever, is better than this. And I don't know. That's a tough question.
John, I see you leaning in.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Mouth breathing.
I kept having the thought while watching it that like the space they're in, it's like it's as if like God had come and like taken total control of like all his power or whatever. So like you don't even have the option but to believe or something like that because you'll be destroyed. Like the kind of the kind of belief or like faith that the stalker is participating in and wanting these guys to participate in is like a level of belief of like kind of like a Christian if they really believed in how they would act if they really believed God was in like total control of what was going on. And because of that, it makes it so any kind of attempt to kind of control reality in any way, and by this I mean things like lying, like become meaningless. And you have the poem where where the stalker is praying. That's another thing, is that the professor and the writer, they're talking constantly and kind of bickering about the nature of things. And several times when they're doing this, what the stalker is doing is praying.
Mhm.
And he's not participating. But yeah, he has the line where he says, may they believe, may they laugh at their own passions, for what they call passion is not really the energy of the soul, but merely friction between the soul and the outside world. And I think that that's kind of like, the idea is that like, where the stalker has like taken them or whatever, like in the zone, it's like, they're like passions or like trying, I don't know, everything about the zone is like on some kind of higher plane or something like that, and things become like less meaningful, and like what takes priority is like the mission or whatever that they're on, which is shown as Brody alluded to earlier in this kind of Abrahamic moment when the stalker lies to the writer and gives him two matchsticks of the same length when they're drawing lots to go through the meat grinder. And it's in the but yeah, it's like the as Kierkegaard would say, the teleological suspension of morality. Like he's lying in because God because quote unquote God or whatever, like the zone requires it.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
Just two things. One, I think the like, call it the religion of the zone, all right? Like the instructions and the sort of like mostly spoken, some unspoken, like etiquette of how to navigate the zone is like pretty interesting. Like given that the object, the mission is to arrive at the room so as to fulfill desires, right? And like there's all this like symmetry between like getting to the room and achieving happiness, and like it's iterated, it's said multiple times that like there's no direct path, and they have to like adhere to this very stringent path as like demarcated by the bolts and cloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the path of the bolt and cloth is different every time and needs to be roundabout and go through these like various like traps and things like this. Like it's so weird, but something about like that and the same thing about like arriving at like an understanding of one's own desire. And then secondly, I think there's probably a classic. What movie? I feel like we've talked about this pretty. Sort of like an. Huh? No, not Marionettes. I'm thinking of Dogville, but just sort of a classic thing where the fact that, I don't know about you guys, but like this scene, super intense.
Please do not spoil, by the way.
I won't.
Okay.
But where he's approaching the building directly, right? Like really intense scene. And when they go through the meat grinder, right? Really intense scene, at least in my estimation. and this right, this is the audience believing, right? This is the audience having faith, not just in the film, but like in the story the Stalker is telling, as opposed to one of more Liz demystifying story. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna. At first, I was going to lead into something, but now at this point, I'm transitioning. So if
Uh-oh.
anybody has something to like wrap up on that idea, then
Well,
I'll wait.
I think it's. I mean, when I was watching, I was getting super childhood vibes. When you would be outside playing something with the friends, and you'd all role play that there's some ambiguous monster or like threat. For instance,
Definitely.
playing soldier, and you'd be like, "There's mines around. We have to be careful." Shh, and you're like, "Yeah, exactly." You're like sneaking and crawling around, sofas and things like that with like sticks and pretending they're guns. And you throw this metal thing, and you think, "Oh, is he going to set off a mine?" And they're both like, "Oh no, it's okay to go." And then and I'm sure that that's a common feeling, I would hope, or I would think, because I mean the whole point is to give yourself up to some sense of naivety, like childlike naivety when it comes to religion and faith and things like that.
Mhm.
And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and that was like a direct line.
Wait,
Yeah. It's
before-
classic for Holy Fool, but yeah.
before Brody makes his grand transition,
Grand.
yeah, I agree with Steve. I just want to quick check. Well, before the quick check, yeah, there's like an analogy between the viewer of the film and like believing in it and like granting it some kind of reality, and the people, the professor and the writer like granting Stalker like his story as well. But am I the only one who was like afraid of like, am I the only one who thought that the stuff was real? Like, pretty much every viewing, I've become, even, I mean, obviously less so the more times I see it, but, like, nervous and, like, that sense of doom and, like, something might happen, like, especially, like, the meat grinder or when he's approaching the house.
Yeah.
Like, am I the only one who's, like, actually thinks something might happen to them?
I
No,
was terrified.
totally. Particularly when there's like there's a moment. What?
We're just laughing at Tony.
Nothing.
Oh, I didn't hear.
We're laughing at Tony being terrified at 1.5.
Dude, that's even worse at 2 times.
But yeah, there's a moment when they get past the meat grinder and they have to go in that water.
Yeah.
Like
Ugh.
that
It's so gross.
No, that
Yeah.
made me so anxious. Like
Yeah.
I was so nervous, so
Yeah.
disgusted. Yeah, I didn't know.
probably why they died
I
years
didn't know
later.
what was gonna happen.
Yeah, that is right.
I was just gonna say I knew I knew of the dangers that the actors faced and the crew faced.
Mhm,
I didn't know
mhm.
the specifics, but I knew before going into the movie. And oh my God, it made every time they're walking through water, or he just like, even if he just walks, like puts his foot in some nasty looking water, I'm thinking, oh God, like there's clearly like some sort of radiation or something going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
just
just
like
looked awful.
toxic waste.
So
Yeah.
This is pre-Chernobyl.
on the first time when the writer breaks away from the group, I actually wasn't that afraid. I was actually kind of angry at the Stalker. I was kind of on their side at the very beginning. I was like, dude, this guy's like not explaining himself, like he's being kind of an asshole, like
Yeah, bro, no faith, dude.
well, yeah,
no,
really.
no faith.
Yeah,
Trust the plan,
dog.
Dude, trust them.
and then but then it was after all those time after that, like whenever they'd be like venturing off, I'd be scared, because then at that point, when it was revealed to me in some way that there is something going on, that then I became scared. And then, all right, so my oh, sorry, do you have something to say, Steven?
I just wanted to say it would have been way scarier if he was approaching the room, the writer, he's approaching the room, and instead of just like turning around and saying, "Oh, the room made me go back," if you just heard a really loud lion roar, like from the room.
Well,
Right when he opens the door, there's a big monster.
Okay, sorry.
So like there's this sense of like idealism that is like being like ran through like the movie. Like so he says like all the traps is like every time somebody like goes to the zone, like all the traps and all like the whole thing begins to like change, and it only begins to change like once people are actually there, and like it becomes I don't want to say reflection, but it's the best term I have right now is like reflection of like their own selves. And then towards the end of the film, when the writer is like sitting on that like well thing at the threshold, and he's complaining about how his writing, he gets
devoured,
transformed,
oh, no.
and then then becomes like a reflection of the people who are like reading him, and he says he gets devoured, and not rather than like, and like he's not trying to change people's minds, like people are changing him. In the same sense, like the island is changing dependent on like who's going there, but it's sort of like to me, unless that is like a oversight of an like an inconsistency. But if we were to give like the film absolute faith, it would be that like there is something like it does sort of undermine the zone a little bit and the process that they're going through, as it's only a reflection of like their own psyche and like what it is that they make of it, rather than, and which is why like probably when he's like going to the building, like what he hears is something in their own heads, like it's nothing that they see, it's something that they could like feel or touch, like it's it comes internally. So, and I think that also like plays a role in like I think it also is undermining when they are the fact that like the stalker has also like never seen the room, like never been to the room and things like that. Yeah, I suppose that's it.
I definitely agree with the zone as like this microcosm of the mind, or maybe not microcosm. What, just symbolic of the mind?
Yeah.
But I think it's probably more too, but I agree with that, and I like the writer's, his monologue is really good on the well's edge when he's talking about that and how he like loses himself in this like dialogue with the reader and himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I also took like the traps are different every time. Yeah, the place just rearranging itself, and like the locus and like the path to desire is always changing. Something like this.
Because we don't really see any sort of real threat other than what is like could potentially be perceived or like internally
imagined.
generated. Yeah. And
I'm
it's
a believer, baby. I've got faith
and
in
it's
the threat. That's the room said, stop. Don't go further. That was not imagined. I'm a man of faith.
all right.
Just I just had a thought with this whole like idea of the world being some externalization of their own psyche. It's some kind of like ties into the idea of like self-actualization, and like the whole idea of like self-actualization is to like create to actualize oneself like in the world or whatever, like to what?
Wait, hold on. Can you define self-actualization again? Oh, wait, sorry.
Why,
It was
by using the same words?
It was actualize oneself. My bad.
Okay, but no, but the point being is to like externalize.
Right?
It's to like externalize.
I thought he was debunked, dude.
Sorry, John.
So the point being is to like externalize like one's. I mean, I don't know. It's like the zone or whatever is some kind of like immediate self-actualization, like where your psyche becomes the world. Like there is no longer friction between your soul and the outer world, as like the Stalker says, because it is all your mind or whatever. I don't know. That's just a thought I had.
No, yeah, I think
No,
I'm definitely
yeah.
I'm definitely for that. Yeah, I'm definitely for that.
No, 100%. I mean, that's the whole fear that why they don't go into the room is they don't, right? The innermost desires of their soul will become realized in the world, right, in ways they don't understand.
Yeah.
All right, who would go into the room?
Okay, wait. So
I'd
I
go
got
into
a
the room.
serious answer to that though.
Okay.
As a viewer of this movie, Tarkovsky really made me feel like I was the only one in the room, and made me feel like I was in the experience the whole time, as if I was following the stalker. And at the end, when there was like that, like I don't know, that rain in that room going in the puddle, that big old, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about? They're all
Mhm.
sitting down.
Yeah.
I felt like
so
I
epic.
was in the room or something. It had me thinking. But
Oh,
maybe,
like you crossed the threshold.
yeah, I feel like us,
I
me
see.
as a
And
viewer.
then you're looking. You were looking at them
Yep.
who were like.
Yep.
Okay, I see what you mean.
You know, maybe there's a stalker in all of us, right?
Yeah.
Actually, so true, right? The camera moves into the room. We have to come back to the rain, but the camera moves into the room, and there's a shift from color to sepia, then back to color, as it crosses like maybe just the threshold or
Well,
something.
Tony wouldn't know that.
I wouldn't
Huh?
know that, dude.
He's
Huh?
colorblind.
Oh, wait, is Tony colorblind?
Yeah, I don't even know what CP is, bro.
He's green. He's green colorblind.
I don't
He's
know.
green colorblind
Yeah,
too.
the
It
So
just
movie,
looks-
like
The movie
it's
looks
like salt
stinky,
brown
dude.
still.
The movie looks stinky, dude. I don't know.
Wait, do we think the rain? Is there a ceiling in that room?
There can't be because there's rain. So science would dictate.
Right. Well, because so the spookiest things would be the rain, the stop, don't move or whatever, and the when they like circle back upon the scientist, and they're like, "How'd you get ahead of us?"
Right.
But they might have just gone in a circle. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So we go into the room, and the thing we want most in life, secretly, is to watch this movie.
Right. The thing that we want most in life is to observe people who are outside of it. I don't know.
No. The thing we want most is more of that scene where we see the writer with his head on the professor's chest,
Yeah.
where they're
so
laying down
sweet.
together. We want more
Yeah.
of that. I wish I could exist in that forever.
After their nap, when they come together.
Yeah, so cute.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah, so if we were to if the stalker is the artist and then like through art is we are taking this journey towards the transcendent, and then there's some line in there that says like the point, it was the writer, and he's laying in the grass like trying to sleep or something, and he says that like the point of life is to like make art.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that.
Yeah, he says art. He says,
It's the most unselfish thing you can do.
yeah.
Yeah. And then that being the stalker. I remember thinking to that like, no.
I don't know, bro. I think art's pretty selfish.
No.
I don't know.
I'm trying to pull up this.
I
I
don't know
that
that
script.
it just seems really. Every artist would like to think that, wouldn't they? You know.
Yeah, they're the great gift to mankind.
Yeah, that they're the great gift. They're doing the greatest thing ever, and like there's definitely like truth to that. When he posits that as like life's like goal, only thing I could think of is like all the people in life like who aren't really like the creative types, which are like most people. And then like so like what is their life then? Like is their like purpose is to like provide
Should be to serve the artist.
Yeah, to serve the artist.
Alright.
and like some like roundabout way, like like they're like a farmer or something, so like they create like food, for the fucking artists to just eat and create more art so they can do like the real work. I don't know.
Sounds kind of like a based world to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down.
Says the artist.
Yeah,
Tarkovsky is king.
Yeah.
what does the writer even say? The writer, like, it seems he says like, if my books aren't being read in 100 years, then what's the point?
Mhm.
This might not be. I'm not really responding to anything, but I thought at the time I thought, like, what a weird way to think about it. Like, why 100 years? Or something.
Well-
unless he's just trying to say a general point of like,
Yeah.
I think it's more
not-
general.
Well, I think
Fast-
because
fast-
I'm not saying like the
lifetime.
specificity of 100 years. I mean,
Yeah.
Just
Why
like
did he
it's
choose
gonna-
100?
Well, I
What is the
mean,
meaning
that
behind
isn't that thing you're touching on, Troy. Well, so does 100 get mentioned like twice? Because later on he gets told that he'll live to be 100 years old.
100. Yeah.
And
true.
then he even asks, he's like, why just 100? Why not forever?
Yeah,
Or something like
right.
that. So there is some sort of like maybe self-awareness
okay,
to that,
He gets it.
to the arbitrary number. But of course, the metaphor is there regardless,
Mhm.
Sorry for underestimating the characters.
It's okay. You get a pass.
Maybe you should watch it again.
Maybe try 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Turn colorblind on.
480p.
On a phone.
On the
What else do
phone.
we got? Are we gonna spend the next hour talking about the black dog and what it all means?
Well, I was wondering if anybody had any ideas about the beginning and ending scene, how they both had the moving glasses.
Yeah.
I just noticed. I don't really know what to make of it. I remember the ending. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
She's a telepath.
Yeah.
right.
She's like a god
Thanks.
baby.
Idiot.
Yeah. Oh, that
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah, she was moving the cups. They weren't just moving.
Oh, she
first
was
one
moving
was
with
a
her
train.
mind.
I like the train though in the beginning when it kind of rumbles by and it's super agitating and you can hear on the train whatever that like uproarious classical it's like La Marseillaise or something like this.
Wait, is
just
it the
like
same one that
super-
plays at the end?
Yeah, it's like the
That's,
super.
It's Ode to Joy, I believe.
No,
Beethoven's Ode to
okay, then I
Joy.
think it's something else. Okay.
Because that's at the end.
Yeah, they play
Okay.
a different song at the beginning.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, whatever. But they play this sort of like patriotic or like. Anyway, it just really sets the tone of like this type of outer world. That is like past its heyday and, like in decay. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to say again just how gross all the stuff is. Like when they take a nap and they're like laying in it, and it's like all
Yeah.
real and stuff. I don't know. It's so freaking gross. Oh yeah, that shot, like that shot's real. The one where it's just, I think it's when they're dreaming and it's of the water with all that like foam on top.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they're playing in. It's so gross.
That shot that you're talking about, are you talking about the one that's got like the dust devil or whatever?
Yeah, there's like dust devils
Yeah.
on this stuff
I-
on top of the water.
Yeah, that shot is so crazy because I mean I don't really
Yeah.
know like what to like make of it symbolically, but something about it like looks like land, but then it's like clearly water, but it's like enough land to have like dust devils and stuff.
Yeah. It's straight up looked like, a fucking hallucination scene. Like out of a
Yes.
modern movie where you see
Yeah,
some sort of
so
like
crazy.
whoa, wave effect. But obviously it's way dope because that's not what's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's real. A big brain would say that it looks a lot like the planet in Solaris, but
Cringe.
you know how it is. His name is John. Have you seen that? Right?
Yeah,
So based.
yeah. I mean, I guess
Doesn't it though?
Yeah, I guess.
It's got this
I
weird
mean, I
liquid
didn't-
land. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. My first thought for like symbolically, it's just like it's like kind of like the illusion of it being like concrete or whatever as land, but like it's really like always changing or something like that.
Yeah,
Mm.
I like that. It makes complete sense given what the zone is and how it's
Mhm.
always changing.
Yeah, this is sort of mirrored by the dunes in the building.
Yeah.
You know, where
What the hell?
dunes,
Yeah.
dunes obviously couldn't have formed in there. And it's sort of even highlighted by the camera that, like, when he steps on it, right, there's like a different color sand on top, right? You know
I
what I'm
don't
talking about?
recall. I do not
So
recall.
I'll pull it up while I talk about it. But
in his footsteps, they're like
yeah, in the footsteps
sand
in the
is white.
sand uncovers a different tone of sand beneath the top layer. But of
God,
course,
so gross.
But of course, dunes, right, are this like ever-changing dynamic thing, right? Like you can't look at it, you know.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So like in this case, it's like what would normally be seen as like an impermanent like landscape or whatever is shown to be like more permanent.
Yeah,
more
it's like
concrete.
strange. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, there's like yeah. There's like a weird yeah compare yeah. The permanent impermanent. There's some philosopher who I wish I knew more about things in general, but there's I can't remember, but his famous like analogy is that of a sand dune, so as to represent like something. But in this case, like right, desire or something like this, right? It has like the illusion of permanence, but it's ineffable and undiscoverable and constantly changing and evolving and things like this.
Yeah, I really thought the mountains were mountains out of molehills analogies.
This is a
Anyways,
joke,
no,
I kid.
no. I also thought that they were for sure just tons of bodies underneath the sand. I mean, that one's less of a joke, but still a joke. I mean, I
It's
didn't
not
for
bad.
sure think that, but I did definitely initially see some sort of like a crypt somehow.
Yeah.
They all seem to take on such a uniform shape that to me immediately struck me as like body sized each one, human sized dunes.
Mhm.
I have a question. So, you know how there's this whole thing about how the writer like can't have a gun, like get rid of the gun, and like
Yeah.
there seems to be some kind of thing about like the zone like destroying anything that's like a weapon or something like that. Like with the tanks and all this. Why does the zone allow like doesn't allow that, like some kind of weapon of violence against other people, but allows like the poison, whatever, some kind of like means of
Oh, you mean the bomb?
no, I mean, unless the professor was alluding to the bomb, he says that he has poison in his rucksack.
Yeah, I think he
Just in
was
case.
just lying. I thought he
Oh.
was just lying. Like he was saying he had like cyanide
Yeah.
or
But
cyanide type
either
thing, so
way,
he could kill himself.
either way, you have this whole thing of like the
Uh-huh.
stalker kind of being the mouthpiece of like the zone and like what's allowed and what's not allowed, and he's like cool with him having something to kill himself. He's like, oh,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's fine. So I don't know. I mean, either way, I don't know why. It's interesting that that's like allowed and the gun is not.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not really sure. He says with the gun, who are you gonna shoot in there? I don't think he meant the writer was gonna shoot himself, but more so he was gonna shoot something in there.
Yeah. He's like, what are you even gonna shoot at? Like the zone?
Yeah.
Like implying like the threat is of a much more mysterious kind.
Whereas
than you can shoot at?
the poison was meant to be used on himself, sort of. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if anything, the gun would represent like a total misunderstanding or underestimation of the
It'd
zone.
be like a lack of faith.
Yeah, like you don't
lack of,
believe.
like-
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't
Like
realize.
you don't believe in the
Yeah,
in the guy, in the stalker. Like you don't believe in like Ukule on the other side. Like you're like if you're going to be like aiming and walking towards the transcendent, like you can't be defensive.
Oh, so it's
Like
like
you have to
even if he
actually like
doesn't
open
have
yourself up
anything
and like
to
be
shoot.
accepting
Yeah, aggression against the
and
zone.
and have absolute faith in what you're like going towards.
But yeah, but also thinking you could shoot at the zone or something is like some total misunderstanding of what is happening. Like it shows like a lack of faith there as well. Like you don't, if you think a gun is gonna help you, like you don't get it.
So, do you think the stalker's even right to say that, or is he just wrong? Because the stalker makes the claim that it would be bad for the person, actually, that it would be bad for the writer to be caught with the gun. I believe at some point he evokes like that the zone will like reject him or something
Yeah,
associated
he's like,
with
you're
it.
gonna kill us all. You're gonna get us all
Right.
killed.
Right. That's interesting because if that were true, I mean, the bomb would surely, like, if the zone has awareness, the zone would clearly be aware that a bomb is in the professor's backpack. That seems like it's just as misguided.
Yeah.
So I don't. I mean, in a sense, I actually would disagree. I don't think that it is. I think it's actually very different than what the gun is meant to symbolize. But if we're to take the stalker's words as true, it would be like essentially the same thing. I think in this case, like the stalker reveals himself to be kind of wrong. Like again, like just kind of like a fool. You're
Yeah.
kind of just going about this child's rules, that he's dictating, as opposed to the zone itself. The zone did tell the writer to turn back. Why wouldn't the zone have like? And this is obviously I'm not trying to be pedantic or whatever,
I'm with you.
or materialize the movie, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean there's something about it, like about how the character, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It definitely is a point towards it all just being make-believe storyland.
Yeah.
Which makes the writer or like the stalker like saying like you must be like such a great man or whatever because he like disobeyed and like went forwards and the zone didn't kill him. That makes that statement even more interesting because
Yeah.
it becomes more so about like the stalker's faith in other people.
Yeah.
And
Or-
like
or
it
the
doesn't
zone.
like it doesn't
Yeah,
it
the
doesn't
zone.
erode the stalker's belief in the
Right.
zone. It erodes it only reaffirms it.
Right. Yeah, he would rather like completely wipe away his previous conceptions of the writer or whatever, and instead, yeah, like in order to solve whatever, the cognitive dissonance or whatever, instead he's going to say that he must have been a great man. You're right. Worthy of the zone, as opposed to the opposite, which would be that the zone is false and that the guy, yeah. I agree.
If I can take us back to the telephone, did anybody else laugh when he answers the phone and says, "This is not the clinic," and then he like puts it down and then they all just kind of
Yeah,
look at the phone and just go
Yeah,
like,
it's
"What the
definitely
hell?"
it is funny.
Like,
I read somewhere that in theaters when this is shown, most of the theater laughs at that moment.
That's funny.
it is a
Did I-
pretty comedic.
I laughed when he
moment.
put on the crown of thorns and he said, "I don't." What did he say?
I don't forgive you.
I don't forgive
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I rolled my
I
eyes.
didn't
a
know
little.
if that was some reference to
Jesus, my friend.
whatever that Dryer movie is.
Who?
Oh.
Dude, I don't know why I'm forgetting the name. The Dryer
Jesus.
Passion of Joan of Arc. I didn't know if I didn't know if it was a reference to that.
What, did she
Interesting.
wear
I've not
thorns in
seen
that?
I think so.
Oh, I mean, Jesus wears thorns.
Yeah, but
Jesus, my friend.
I think Joel knows that.
Well, I know. I'm just saying. Well, I don't know. Well, I'm just saying. Well, I would suspect it's primarily a reference to Christ than another movie that references Christ. I was just clarifying. I don't know. I thought John was like some Satanist.
no, you probably are right.
Well, it's
There's-
certainly aware of Joan of Arc. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean I would guess if it's an allusion, what would make it an allusion to Joan of Arc as opposed to Jesus Christ itself would be like just the way it's shot, right? The way it looks,
Mhm.
and the things said. If it's literally, if all of those things like align such that they're identical to the film and not like the biblical story, then I would lean towards the Joan of Arc. I do want to ask, or like to check, is this actor, not the writer, the stalker? He was in a bunch of Dreyer movies. No, is that correct or no?
Wait, sorry, the stalker or the writer?
The stalker.
I don't think so. I can look it up right now.
Has he been in some other very famous film, like
Yeah, another
like
Tarkovsky
classic
film.
like art Kino? Oh really?
Wait, no, the writer is in a lot of, or there's not many Tarkovsky films, but he is the protagonist in Andrei Rublev,
It looks like the guy
as
who
well as in Solaris.
plays Stalker's just in a bunch of other Russian movies.
All right.
So
So what's it all
why
about?
why do you think the stalker just doesn't go to the room?
Doesn't he say? He's like, it's not for me.
Yeah,
Why not?
he
'Cause
says
he's
he
got a
says
job.
everything he could possibly like want, like the thing that brings him happiness is taking other people to the room, which is more so like what that actually is something more like what brings him happiness is the hope that someone can be happy by him bringing them to the room. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and kind of this whole like, as by proxy, like garnering faith in others. Like if we see it as just storytelling, right? Like his whole mission is to bring someone to the room. Like if anything, this is a huge success, right? Like he brought these. Like if his mission is to have more people believe, right? Like what is a more clear action of belief than not going in the room because you're afraid. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean he says, it's not for me. He's got his job and he like remains steadfast. I like when he cries. As a comment, is every sound in this movie dubbed, right?
Yeah, it seems
I
like
think
it.
so.
Well, all the yeah, like every sound, right, is after the fact.
Yeah, I mean that's also the sacrifices. No, is
Uh,
that?
I don't know about the sacrifice.
I think for the
The
most part it is.
for
Dubbed.
the vocals are for sure,
Oh yeah,
but I'm saying like literally every single thing you hear is not coming from anything on screen.
The Zona doesn't
I think
allow
that's reasonable.
microphones.
You'll doom us all.
Right.
Is it true that they shot this movie like 3 times or something, Goofy?
Yeah, John, you've got John as he mentioned in his intro. John, what do you know about that?
yeah. So they shot on some like experimental stock of film, and they shot the first half of it, and then they went to go develop it, and for some reason it like didn't work and ruined all of the film. There was
That
a bunch
explains
of
the
like
color.
there's a bunch of there's a bunch of like
Sepia explained.
there's a bunch of like finger pointing and all this about like whose fault it was and if it was on purpose and blah blah blah. But yeah, then they came back in Mosfilm, the people funding the film, they only gave them enough money to shoot the second part, even though they had to reshoot the first part, and so Tarkovsky rewrote a bunch of the script, and then they reshot the whole first half as well as the second half on half the budget that they needed or had originally planned for.
Last Soviet film. Last
So-
great Soviet film.
What's the? I don't feel satisfied with you people's explanation of the ending scene. I need ending scene explained here.
What do you mean? Just
Ending
just
explained.
watch it on YouTube. Stalker ending explained. Conceptual.
I read
Yeah,
Reddit,
I
dude.
want to hear
What?
ending explained from you.
Okay, I think it's quite clearly this is nothing new, Brody. Nothing new. Okay, you haven't seen Sacrifice and you haven't seen all the other good movies.
Yeah, I've never seen a good movie before,
But it's
so I need you to explain.
all this trick in the scroll. You make the viewer believe, is it real, is it not real? And of course, the answer to that question has a bunch of implications. And then in the end, you confirm the mystery as mysterious. I see it as just
why is like the mystery like in the daughter? Like,
oh, I don't
doesn't that seem like meaningful?
She's like a child. She's like a right. The wife's talking about all these stalkers. The children they have. They're all mutants. I mean, this is an X-Men prequel, and you have yeah. I think she's a product of the Zone in some sense, and she has powers,
Well,
and it just confirms that the Zone is legit.
Yeah, and she's shown in color after we've gone back to sepia tone, which is important because it's some kind of like she is some kind of embodiment of the Zone, or like she's some kind of piece of the Zone outside of it.
and I don't know if this answers your question, Brody, but possibly it could relate to the stalker's speech at the beginning about how children are soft, or what do you say, soft and pliable or something.
Yeah. The
Right.
poem.
So I don't know exactly how it relates, but I think it relates at least, I don't know, a little bit.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
I'm on board. I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I feel decent about that one.
And the zone as like a symbol of hope in the eyes of the stalker, and children as the symbol of hope in the future. Yada yada.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, you have this whole poem that I mean, I think it's implied that she reads it before you hear her like speak it, as she's right before she moves the glasses.
Right.
Which is some kind of, the poem seems to be some kind of like affirmation of not knowing the answer or whatever, or like not going into the room and like leaving it to be desire.
Right. Yeah.
This is
Okay.
just to come back to a little bit. This is a sort of classic biblical thing that occurs in films where I can't mention them because I know the ones I want to mention or whatever haven't been seen by a majority of you lemmings. But this, just Tarkovsky, like, sort of explicitly plays God here in reference to, like, the Three Temptations, you know? Here's another Brothers Karamazov, well, I mean, biblical reference that the Brothers Karamazov talks about, but, like, right? This question of faith, right? And the devil is with Christ, and they're on top of some temple, and I forget which temptation it is, but he's like, you know, hey, jump off this building and just fly, you know, or something like this, you know, and everyone will see you fly and believe in you. And he's like, oh, I can't do that. Then it's not faith, right? It needs to be faith. I can't just prove I exist. But then Tarkovsky, right? If this whole time you're wondering, is the zone legit? Is the zone not legit, right? And there's all this question of faith, right? And the stalker is faced with like the same issue of like trying to persuade these men to have faith in something that he cannot prove to them. Anyway, and then Tarkovsky just proves it.
Right, at the end.
Yeah, like I don't like it like separates, like it's an unchrist-like thing to do.
Right.
You know? It seems strange. Like I don't know if it's just calling attention to itself as a film, or if it's or something like this, like he confirms that he forces you into a state of faith, but only because you have legitimate faith in the film. I don't get why, because this happens in not just Tarkovsky films, but other films.
Here's one thing, is that it's kind of it's like a test, because it's confirmation inside the film that what's going on inside the film, like the zone or whatever, is real. But you're still watching like a film, like I think it is what you said, like calling attention to itself as a film, because you're presented with something that you can either go, oh wow, okay, the cool like movie trickery or whatever, but like didn't change my mind like in quote unquote the real world, you know. But like so I think it's kind of like yeah, I mean I think that moment is like kind of it's like a very meta moment where the film kind of becomes real if you allow it to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's kind of common to subvert yourself at the end of something to make to recontextualize everything that came beforehand to be more profound or personal. It's you know, comedians do that, but also tons of works of fiction do that, where at the end you just immediately say, or we even do that too, where we say you know, but I'm just an idiot, you know. Right. It's whatever. And there's something self-aware, I think, in doing that. It achieves a similar effect.
Yeah, I
mean,
right.
I'm down. I'll buy it.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for the ending explained. Also, can I get needles explained now? What was up with that?
What explained?
They
Needles.
use needles a bunch. There's a bunch of syringes, hypodermic.
Oh,
He's a junkie,
yeah.
bro. It's all fake. He's a sketch.
Yeah, they're
Right.
on. Yeah.
Drugs,
Actually,
drugs.
They just.
A bunch of
Tripping out in that
bunch of
bed the whole
Pfizer
time.
It was just a psychedelic trip.
vaccines.
They watched this bomb just trip in the forest, dude. That's why they went. All right.
Yeah, Pfizer, Bill Gates predicted.
Yeah, Pfizer.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably something just like a little commentary, a little social commentary.
Yeah, fucking. This movie was about something. This movie was talking about something.
I mean, it may be as obvious as to what it means as asking the guy to pour out the beer or the alcohol. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
both are just cases where you want to, just to draw a contrast between one of the obvious ways people choose out from like the question or something like that. And so, I mean, a syringe and drugs is obviously a way in which people cope with some sort of like desire or like want of desire. So they just pursue this obvious, like shitty thing.
Okay.
I mean, it's
It
not like
was
a
by
crazy
the-
deep or anything.
Yeah. I mean, it was by the wife's bedside table,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was also like scattered around the zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's under the water. We see the
Yeah.
fish in the tank, and then
We see a bunch of beakers in the water, too.
icon
like-
of Christ. We see some cogs, a gun, then a spring, and then some bigger items I can't identify.
A dildo.
One thing
Steven, that's not in the movie.
Why is everybody
I like
bald?
about
You charlatan.
You say, why is everyone bald?
Yeah. Why is everybody bald? Good question, Brody. Good question.
God damn it.
What were you saying, John? Sorry.
no, it's okay. One thing I like about that shot or whatever, is that he is he's not like, it's not like he is different than any of the other objects or whatever, like he's part of the sequence. Which, going back to talking about the inchworm on his finger, there's also another shot where he's got some bug like crawling around on his head.
Yeah.
And I like that all this imagery of him being like totally integrated with the zone, and just like
Mhm.
like the tanks and the buildings,
Mhm.
kind of being I don't know, he's like fully submitted to it, and it's like literally like growing on him or whatever.
Yeah. I loved the line about, you remember what happened with the tanks? You remember the tanks?
Yeah, remember the tanks.
It's just I love just the way that the stalker takes on like this super childlike, super convincing
Yeah.
childlike way of just retroactively explaining things, black swanning
Yeah.
things as evidence for like new phenomena. So funny. It's so awesome.
He is funny, and he weeps.
But
like
I totally agreed with the point,
Like a
John.
little,
Sorry.
like a little bitch.
No, it's good.
Divorce.
a
Also, the back to the moving cup shot and some kind of like confirmation of the reality of the zone. I also think that the showing of like the bookshelves or whatever is also some kind of confirmation. Not just in the same way that like, oh yeah, this guy isn't just an idiot, like he's also super based or whatever, and is also being childlike,
Stalker, wicked smart.
He's wicked smart. Yeah. And I don't know, I was, one of my favorite parts of the whole movie is the opening scene. Just, I don't know, the whole sequence as like the camera like pushes in through those doors and stuff. There's so many little things that are so like perfectly timed and perfectly like framed throughout that whole thing that just kind of blew my mind at how perfect it was, just how like technically kind of like impossible that must have been
I
like
agree,
to like
John.
achieve or whatever.
Yeah, the composition throughout is crazy good. Like, tons of like sort of modern composition or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Also, just like a small thing. Like technically speaking, it is crazy. There's 4 or 5 shots or something like that where this happens, where where they like nail the focus on him or whatever in a way that seems like, I don't know, extremely difficult. One is when they're like sneaking through trying to get into the zone or whatever, and they like come across like this wall or whatever,
with
and
the
then
glass,
when it gets to him,
the broken glass.
yeah, and then suddenly he's like perfectly in focus. It's like, I don't know, that is so difficult to do.
Yeah, maybe for you.
Wait, I actually don't get why that's difficult to do. Don't you just know where he's gonna stand, he hits his mark, and you mark the focus and you pull it.
Well, not so much for this one, but also the focus is pretty shallow as well. So
that is true.
Is pretty shallow as well, and him just moving in and out of focus, like just standing there, like not being aware of like moving at all. But more impressive is the opening scene when he puts on his pants and then he walks into the front of the frame. I don't know, just like it's not so much testament to how difficult it is to focus, but how like perfect and obviously like meticulous the blocking is in each scene.
Yeah, I like all the scenes outside of the zone are also very theatrically staged.
Yeah,
with respect to where the camera is and stuff. And then when they get closer to the zone, it becomes a little more of like a sort of emotional, like you're there perspective.
Yeah, it's a little more like organic feeling or something. But yeah, this whole opening sequence is it's super staged. But I don't know, it doesn't make it any less real. And like I like how the building they're in, like the ceiling is like absurdly high, like it looks like a dollhouse or something.
Well, this marks sorry, go on.
No, that's all. I don't know.
Yeah, and it marks a distinction. Like we have this incredibly theatrical setup with deep focus, and then this transition to the shallow focus as he enters the room marks a transition. Like it's an obvious transition away from the theatrical setup and towards like bringing attention to the nature of like the camera. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Like things up to this are pretty theatrically set up. And then when it shifts to shallow focus and it's on him, it's much like that's not theatrical. And then you go back to theatrical when he's in the kitchen. Right? This is this is just a huge stage. And it stays like that until it comes in close and they have this dialogue. I'm just saying there's like a clear like awareness of what looks theatrical and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And sort of transitioning gradually away from the theatrical towards the zone.
Also in the zone, if we're going to talk about like moments when you become like aware of the camera or whatever, you have the moment where he sends the I believe the professor to go first or whatever when they very first start. And then you kind of assume this like supposedly POV shot is what it feels like and what it seems like, because it lines up with where the professor is or whatever. And then suddenly you're like moving through this car and he couldn't have been going through the car, and then suddenly he appears in the shot.
Oh, yeah. Where there's a dead body with a machine gun.
Yeah. And suddenly the person who you thought you were like seeing through his eyes or whatever, like he becomes not a part of it or whatever, and it suddenly makes you aware of some kind of, suddenly like the camera becomes like an omniscient presence after that, which I think sets up the after that, I was much more like scared about the kind of realness or like the danger or whatever of like where they were or something, as like something like constantly like lurking or just being there.
I love how they look
the
back
omniscience. Sorry, what are you saying, Joll?
I love how right here when they look back at the camera.
Yeah, and they see the dead body.
So awesome.
Yeah, the omniscience of the camera definitely provides a sort of omniscience to the spookiness of the zone. Like when you're watching them sort of just sit in the grass and you're like God watching them.
Yeah, you're like an observer.
Them looking at the camera is actually critical because it shows that whatever you have just like realized is some kind of omniscient thing looking at them, they can't see it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
Or like, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, the camera also holds, like, when he approaches it in a direct line, and he stares into the room, or into the house, and then the camera switches perspective to that of the room watching him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so like nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Then also the last time that comes to mind of like being made aware of the camera is when the wife directly addresses the audience.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because at that point we're kind of like fully into the like confirmation that what we're watching is that like the zone is real, that the stalker is legit, or like we haven't gotten to the zone is real yet because the daughter's after it, but the sequence is some kind of like the zone is real, the stalker is legit, and also you're watching a film. Which, yeah, I mean, just to serve the kind of point of the self-awareness or whatever of the confirmation of the zone. I think this goes along with that.
Sepia is such a weird choice, or not weird, but like, I don't know, it fits so well, this kind of like rusted golden post-apocalyptic vibe of like decay, or I don't know, like why not black and white, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about color. Like the sepia, I mean, is essentially black and white, but I don't know.
I mean, it definitely makes it feel like more shit.
Yeah, right? It's like more archaic or something. It's just big rust.
Yeah, Big Rust.
Big Rust promoted this film.
360 no scope.
Yeah.
1v1 me.
Oh, right.
Classic.
1v1 me in the Zona.
Yeah, I like the part
Is,
when Monkey picked up the shotgun and... Just kidding.
What?
Oh,
Monkey the
joke
daughter.
about,
Like,
like-
monkey.
It's like Return to Monkey or
No,
something.
Monkey
What the
yeah,
heck?
is the
yeah.
daughter, yeah.
Oh, I thought I had something. I was just gonna tell an anecdote of the first time I started to watch, or second time I saw this. It was with Joll and some other boys, and it was way too powerful for the crowd. We had to turn it off.
It was after a long day of just a long adventure. We come home, and Troy puts on Stalker.
People were not down. Hated it.
How
just-
far in?
We
How far in
got.
did you stop?
I think.
No, we finished.
I don't exactly. Did we finish
Yeah,
it?
we finished.
Whoa.
I thought people left though.
They might have, but I remember we ordered food like halfway through.
Oh,
and
yeah,
bought us to
yeah,
eat.
yeah. That was a nightmare. That was probably the most. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to, fill the time. Anyone know any good jokes? Anyone know any tricks?
We're not. What do we gotta fill the time for? We got
Well, we're under
sponsors.
obligation.
Are we?
Man, yeah, Dollar Shave Club pays for 2 hours.
Oh, for 2 hours.
Well, could I say the oh man, what was I gonna say? I had something to say, and then you said Dollar Shave Club, and my mind went blank.
Sorry.
MeUndies.
Sorry.
Yeah, Mag Weldon.
You think about it. I just want to bring up the scene. The first transition scene where they're on the trolley car
Oh, it's so
Uh-huh.
epic.
Yeah.
and the music starts playing and like becomes like a rhythmic. I don't know. I just loved this scene.
Oh, where it like echoes all weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beow, 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 beow.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved this part.
I love the sequence.
Yeah. Sequence.
If
is
you get
so
shot,
good.
don't make any noise. You'll just get us all killed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like they're going to war. Just imagine. I love imagining being a kid saying that. That's exactly
Yeah.
the type of thing I would say if I was like playing soldier with 3 other kids.
Yeah.
Life is all about playing soldier. Is what
What
I'm
if the
taking
guards
away.
are actually the good guys?
All these junkies keep
Bro.
going into the woods, like.
Yeah.
Bro, when they
Druggies, they go
destroyed
into
the
the
Death
woods to
Star?
do drugs.
That's why there's all the
They're all
needles.
just doing shrooms. It's like
Yeah, it's just a
Tripping out,
Yeah, they're-
dying out there. They
yeah,
gotta keep
they're-
rescuing
yeah.
them. They're getting tired of it, wasting resources on these junkies.
Yeah.
they get there and there's just a huge steel door and they open it. It's like a crack house and it just happens that all the
That's
truest
the- that's-
desires.
that's
All
the-
your
that's the
desires
room.
with this one needle.
So true.
Base?
Yeah, I love this. The first color shot is so good. Like where the trolley and slash camera comes to a halt on this shot, and then it pans over to another like crazy portrait landscape. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it was
definitely like
good.
crazy beautiful movie, like with like really classic composition. It seems.
A lot of
really good
like, you
looking
know,
movie.
the scene with like the dog and like the one with like the sand dunes, all like really aesthetically pleasing.
And when you have it on
Yeah,
Blu-ray,
let me-
it's so awesome.
Do you have it on Blu-ray?
Hell yeah.
Dude, you gotta mail it to me. Let me can't say that on the air, you know, but let me I'm gonna get a copy of that.
You could buy one online.
So you can, yeah.
yeah,
You
never
could
mind. I'll
buy
probably
one online. Troy's like,
probably-
what? No way.
I'll probably end up owning this at some point anyway, so never mind.
His teeth were gross here. I never noticed.
Dude, his
how
teeth were gross
that-
the whole
Dude,
movie.
I didn't-
there were
notice
times
it
where I
was
forgot,
at
and then
home
there were
that
times
can't
where
see
it
what we're
really
looking at.
was
I
obvious.
didn't notice until really
Yeah,
here.
we're talking about the writer's teeth for the
Yeah.
viewers
Yeah,
at
the
home.
writer's teeth.
Talk
Just
about
shave it, bro.
Troy's
Just
teeth.
shave it.
We'll say his teeth are only gross in this movie. It's not like he doesn't actually have gross teeth. Just in case it was
You sure about that?
Yeah, in case we're sliding.
Anybody
just in
was gonna
case it was
think
up
that
in the
he
air.
was like cringe.
Right.
Bro just needs to buzz his head or shave it, dude.
Yeah, no more balding. No more middle ground.
I'll tell you what, I got a prediction.
Okay.
One day we'll watch Andrei Rublev and Brody will give it a 5.
Oh my god.
You think so?
Now I've made it so he can't because he won't.
Yeah,
do it.
now, yeah, you just blew it.
Now I've
you
backed
just-
him
you
into a
just
corner.
blew it.
But
Just don't watch it, dude.
He'll 4.9 it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
4.95. I don't even have to
limit-
see it. That's the score.
Limit as X approaches 5.
It's a 1.
All right. What do we got left? Is that it?
I mean, I'll throw out one more thing. I don't know if this will stick, but is there anything that was like unlikable about the movie?
Oh,
We'll
good
give that a
idea.
go.
Good idea.
No.
No. So that means it's a
What
5.
was the question?
That's what that
Well,
must mean.
what about-
What
what
don't
about-
we? What
Perfect
don't
movie.
we like about the movie?
Or
Only
what-
today's audio
what,
cut out. What
like-
did you say, Brody?
I think it's good. I don't know. I want to remain critical, and at the same time, like I'm just like allergic to sounding like or feeling like I'm placing myself above the film.
Well,
Does that make sense? Like I'm
Yeah.
always just nervous about like critiquing something far above me.
I mean, going
But I idolize film, so it's hard.
going along with that, his little monologue as he's laying down in bed and talking about everyone who doesn't believe. I like felt horrible at that point in the movie, feeling as though like he's talking about me, you know, and like I don't know,
Oh.
it makes me hesitant to be critical of anything that I feel is like above my head.
Mine is that it's a bit artist circle jerky. I think it's he places himself pretty high. He's a selfish man or a selfless man who's like going out and trying to save people. It's like
Dude,
Alright,
you
but what
don't
about
think
this?
you
Come on,
don't
What about
think
this?
art is
What
the
if- Yeah, what if the writer, the person who you're saying says this, is actually said to be a bad person?
oh,
What do you mean? I don't think he is
like
the
the
writer.
stalker's a bad
he's
person.
if anything, he's
Yeah.
the stalker, and I'm down with like. The
No, that's what I
self-insert
mean.
bordering
That's what
on
I-
the cringe.
No, that's what I mean. Is like the stalker is like he perceives himself as like the selfless like hero who's like going out like trying to like save people who don't understand and don't get it, but he gets it. He gets it.
Yeah,
But other people, they don't get it. It's
yeah,
like,
but I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to think that.
Yeah, the
I
viewer
don't
is
know,
not supposed.
self-insert question. Yeah, but like, what, we're supposed to love the stalker? I
No,
think you're assuming
right.
we're supposed to love the stalker. I
No,
don't think,
I'm-
the stalker's got a lot of problems.
Yeah,
Brody BTFO'd.
I'm not BTFO'd. I'm just not making myself
wait, do you
clear
agree with
enough.
that though?
That
We're not supposed to necessarily just like the stalker, and so if it is a reflection of the director, if it's the greatest reflection of the director, the closest to a self-insert, then
mhm.
he's been he has not been very charitable to himself.
Yes, self-critique.
Yeah. And so in that sense, I think it's redeemed. It's not like jerk-offy in that sense.
I mean, I think nonetheless,
Take it back.
if like even like partially, because like I'm thinking of like the last scene where he's like crying on the bed, and he's like, these scientists, these writers, they don't get it. They don't. It's like, and then when he's crying with all the books, because like he gets called an idiot at first, but he's actually a big brain man who reads books and is trying to lead people to the transcendent who don't get it. It's like, that's what I mean. Even flaws, even any of these things, it's like that's strokey enough for it to be a little off-putting to me.
No faith, dude.
No faith, dude. He's
Yeah,
just.
I'm
he's-
open. I'm open to the ending thing being a little sort of cringe and pretentious, but I'm also more likely to think that I'm meant to feel that way and not like,
Yeah.
oh, so true, so true. Andre, I want to help you. And also, I mean, he separates himself from the stalker with the final shot. Just as a noteworthy comment, like by having the girl move the glasses, he is totally opposed to the nature, like the stalker's job. But I'm with it. I'm with it a bit. Most of my qualms will probably be technical because I'm way better at making films than any of these.
Right.
Why didn't they? First of all, why didn't they use the Ari Alexa and like?
Why they fuck up the film the first time?
Yeah,
they totally
really
blew it.
stupid. Shoot, digital idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah, this really should have just been like a Dogma 95 film. I think it really would have served their purposes better.
Yeah, if Lars had directed this one, it would have gone better.
Yeah.
All right, I'm starting to feel this losing steam.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a fun addition since we've got time to the ending thoughts.
Okay.
Before ending thoughts, what was your favorite part? My favorite part was oh man. My favorite part was when he's rolling around in the grass when they first arrive at the zone. It just feels so textured.
My favorite part was when the scientist was like trying to plant the bomb, and they're like wrestling over it, and he looked such like a child. It was I don't know, it was, and like that that climax of the moment, like right before the threshold, and that sort of all transpiring, I thought was really good.
Wait. I want to say something. If the stalker, if he's so like, oh man, you don't even understand the problem with like the gun, like you're not gonna do anything with the gun,
Mhm.
and then he freaks out over the bomb as if the bomb is any different than the gun. Besides, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's still some kind of idea that the stalker is still resigned to some kind of like physicality or whatever. No, I mean, of like the zone of like his faith that the bomb actually can destroy something.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you were in the bathroom when we talked about it earlier. But yeah, like it's like a point towards the stalker. It's just all make believe, right? Like he talks about the gun as if the zone is going to kill them, but nothing bad. Like they're able to take the bomb there, and it seems like just because the stalker doesn't know about
No,
it.
no, no.
You know what I mean?
No, not that.
Oh,
the fact
he thinks the bomb can destroy the zone.
he thinks the bomb
Or
can
the
destroy
room.
the zone, and he kind of implies that the gun can't do anything.
Yeah.
That like there's no use. What are you gonna shoot, huh? Like,
Well, I mean, it's 20 kilotons, John.
oh, okay. So when the weapon is big enough, it can destroy
Yeah.
the immaterial.
It's about the size.
Yeah. No, that actually is a really good point.
Yeah, I mean that might be. I don't know if that's. Yeah, I mean, like maybe that's a show of like the stalker's not like his either a failure of faith or some kind of misconception about like what it is. I mean, if we're gonna sign on to this like fishbowl thing, you know, like the zone is no different than the world around it or whatever. That like
realize.
he doesn't realize. So I don't know. Either that makes him more a fool or is some kind of show of like I don't know. Yeah,
No,
probably.
Yeah. That is a really good point. Like, he doesn't seem to realize the grandest nature of the zone or something. That the zone is in all of us. No, but yeah, I think that's a good point. Was that your favorite part?
No.
Why'd you answer?
Oh no, I was
Yeah.
I was
What the
I was
heck?
replying to Brody because there's a new thought that I had that I felt. I mean, I would have brought it up earlier if I had it earlier. Favorite
Yeah,
part? Oh, I don't know, man. I liked all of it actually. No, I particularly like the opening quite a lot. Right before he leaves, it's so. I don't know. Everything about it is like really intense and like had me just like from the very start, and I don't know, the kind of drama of it, of like his wife and stuff, and then you see the child, and then the door like partially closes on the child as he walks past it, and then like opens up again, and she's like has woken up at this point and is like staring out. I think that may have been my favorite part. But that being said, I don't know. I'd have to watch it again because there's so many sequences and stuff that I'm probably neglecting that
You said
I like.
this was your first time watching it?
Yeah, first time watching it.
Same. Favorite part? Well.
Part when the dog dies.
What's your favorite part?
What is the room of Stalker? I don't know. I think I was enjoying myself the most during the tension where he approaches the room, turns around, and then they continue when they first start tossing those things, those little, the little slings.
Yeah.
I found myself like both. That was both like a combination of tension. It was really pretty, and like it really was like a moment of like, the dialogue is great, but the dialogue serves usually, essentially like philosophical investigation or like inquiry into like the nature of things as opposed to exposition. But this moment felt much more expositional, and I liked that. I thought it was cool to see like, oh my God, there is something about the room. Of course, it's never answered that it actually is the room that makes him turn around, but we finally get some sort of like, I don't know, we get some oomph about it all.
Yeah. Jolly.
I like the trolley car scene, but the one that really stands out is when the stalker is lying down and the dog comes and kind of places himself kind of perfectly with, I don't know, whatever the dog represents or symbolizes. I think that shot kind of shows like what the stalker takes with him back, because the dog follows them. So I think that part, yeah.
Brody. Or no, you already went.
You already went.
Tony.
Hey. I loved it all.
Big T.
Hey, Big T. No, I don't know. It's not really like one part I really liked a lot. There's nothing I didn't like. I enjoyed most of it, but I really enjoyed that middle when they're when it was really like scary, dude. I was like really in it, and I was like terrified, dude. I don't know, man. Those traps, man. I was waiting to see somebody die. See some evil content and Elsmore doesn't like type stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
See some evil happen, some bad.
I was getting all spooked out. Started believing more.
True man of faith.
Yeah. I started praying with them. It's like an interactive activity.
Yeah, it's like I started
Choose
saying
your own
exactly what
adventure.
he was saying as he said
Some
it
wrong
Yeah,
praying?
I would rewind
in
it.
Russian.
Yeah.
Some wrong with praying? No, man, nothing wrong with praying.
But yeah, it was cool. So thanks for inviting me, guys.
Oh, not so
Oh,
fast. Now we're coming to the end. So we do final thoughts, and you give it final thoughts, and then you score it out of 5. And feel free to go to the hundredths place on the decimal.
Yeah.
Stupid. I'll start. Now, Steven told me that I had this marked as a 4.3 prior to this conversation. And I love this movie. So I'm giving it the score of a 4.2.
Wow.
Little
You love it so
downgrade.
much.
No,
that
it's not
you
just a
made it
little.
worse.
You date of edition 4.3, overall 4.5.
Oh yeah, it's moving from 4.5 to 4.3.
Oh my god.
Look, I've
What a
watched
duty,
been watching a lot of good movies lately.
This one ain't cutting it anymore.
This
one-
well,
this one's
listen,
shit by comparison.
It passes the
fucking
4.
shit now.
It's a must-watch. Not only is it a must-watch, but it's a 4.3
It's a
must-watch.
shit
So
movie.
that is a hefty score. But 4.5 I think is the life-changing threshold, and I don't know if it goes quite that far. Reminder: Sacrifice gets a 5. Okay?
Right.
So,
Okay.
I'll probably do I do my score before my final thought, or do I do that?
No, give your final thought. You got to really tee it up, so it has the big impact.
Oh, now
But
I'm
to be fair, I
nervous.
kind of forgot to do that. But
Did someone say T?
Big T.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I mean, I was just super engaged the entire time. I really liked having these long stretches of like sequences where I felt very much as though like I had no idea what was literally going on in a lot of ways, but felt no less like emotionally impacted by like the imagery and atmosphere and whatnot. Yeah, great movie. I'll watch it again. Definitely a must watch. And I'm giving it a 4.4.
Oh,
woo, big scores.
sheesh. Yeesh, as the kids say these days. Yeesh. You go like that.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
All right, Steve, it's you.
All right, before this podcast, Troy predicted what my score would be. Troy, can you tell everyone what your prediction is? Right
No,
now?
I already told John. John is my witness, so
Oh.
you tell it, and then he confirms. To be fair, I didn't tell him a precise number.
What? Okay.
I gave him a range.
It's- Oh my god. Well, it depends on how big this range is. Maybe your
Okay,
guess
John- well,
is
John,
really
look.
keen and good, or it's cringe and
Look.
mega dumb.
John is a man of integrity, and he will tell you exactly what I said to him because it's a very short phrase.
Should I give my number first?
I think you should give you should tee up your score and then give it.
Look, this movie was good. Let's see. Never did it make me just there were very few moments of where I was smiling, And I don't just mean smiling in the sense of happiness. I mean smiling in the sense of affectedness. I'm just going to give the number. Gosh, it is so tense in here. Do you feel it, viewers?
I got $100
Do you
on
feel
this.
this tension right now?
Oh, yeah, dude.
I got $200
I'm on the edge
this.
of my seat. I'm sweating.
Look, and you don't know. Maybe I'll be a charlatan and completely blow you out of the water. Give it a 5.0. No, I'm not giving it that score though. This score
This is so long.
3.0.
Okay.
So it's shit.
No, it's not shit. It's good.
John, what did I say?
As you're teasing out how I know what you said, I totally forgot what your prediction was.
Okay, I'm a man of integrity, and
I
I
believe you,
said,
yeah.
quote unquote, he's going to give it a very bad score.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
I was
3.0 is very
thinking
bad.
You
That's-
said a number after that, so.
No.
Yeah.
I was guessing in my mind like ones or twos.
Ooh, no,
But
it's not.
three is a pretty three. I mean, 3 puts it among the average
Of good movies. Yeah.
of good movies. It's
Right.
an average, very good movie.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Who's next? Jolly.
Not to outdo you all, but this movie is fantastic.
Oh my god.
Tarkovsky can make a good film.
What does that
2 thumbs up, 4.7.
Oh,
my
what
God.
a score! What a score! This film is dividing audiences.
Dude,
everywhere.
he just
Wow.
won. He just
That's awesome.
Alright.
Joll wins.
Yeah,
Wait,
There's
Mitch,
two
I'll
more.
wait.
There's 2 more left.
Oh, go on. Oh, I see.
I like the movie a lot. I'm a sucker for like religious kind of, movies.
Yeah.
Although this one didn't like super blow me away, like how they do oftentimes. But I do give it a still pretty high score. I'm gonna have it miss the must-watch mark.
Oh!
So I'm gonna have to give it a 3.9.
Okay.
Okay.
3.85.
There it is.
3.85.
Tanner looks like a fish.
I had to close my eyes saying that because people are being silly on face count.
Yeah, for the viewers at home,
For the viewers at
or on
home.
video call,
Yeah.
For the viewers in their daily commute.
for the viewers listening on their daily commute off their PSP.
Right.
We
iPod Shuffle.
We're in a voice call. Or we're in a video chat rather. Tony.
Hey, what up? Hey, big
I think
T.
everyone wants to know
Big
your
T.
score,
Hey,
T.
hey,
Yeah,
hey.
this is the score.
This
This is our
the big
special
one.
guest star, T.
Look, dude, I hope I get to watch Stalker 2 pretty soon. I want to play the video game now. I give it like a 4, I guess.
Wow.
Even though I watched it at 1.5 times speed, 480p colorblind.
Wait.
Dude, imagine how much it could have been if you watched it exactly.
It
like
could've been
how
worse.
Joll
It
So
could've been
this
worse, dude.
this
Could've been
wasn't
worse.
a, was
It
this
could've been
is this
worse.
real?
Huh?
Wait, does this mean Tony's giving it a 6? 1.5?
We're doing out of 10, right?
Yeah, I'm just making a
No,
joke.
I'm just kidding.
4.4.
Tony's score is inflated, not deflated. By his
Yes,
viewing.
Tony. Imagine how good this film is if you give it a 4 on a 1.5.
Yeah, the way Troy
Yeah, it's
wants
cool.
to watch the movie,
I've always
completely
wanted to watch
dark. Your
Tarkovsky.
nose has to
I
be
remember
touching
my,
your
film
monitor.
teacher and a couple years ago, he really liked Tarkovsky. When I talk about him all the time, but I don't know, dude.
Nerd.
I'm a Kubrick simp.
Word.
All right.
How it
Tony,
goes.
please join us again.
I like that you qualify your number by saying,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm a Kubrick simp. That's
Yeah.
that's what I mean by subverting yourself at the end of something to make everything you said more redeemable.
Damn, dude. You just killed Tony.
Huh?
He's dead now.
What?
What?
No, he's like Tarkovsky. He's like a director.
Oh my gosh.
He's
Okay,
nice.
so Tony,
What's up?
we hope you join us more in the future. It's always
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
We're
I wish I could watch it properly next time and give some real thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Yep.
see what we can do.
Man, I don't want to watch 2 movies for this again.
Yeah,
Right.
there was a mix-up on the movie choice. There was some miscommunication. It's pretty much just Brody's fault, but we'll try and avoid that in the future.
Thanks, Broadster.
God forbid I try to keep communication.
Yeah, no, that was actually everyone's fault but Brody.
Yeah.
Because Brody was like, wait, it's this movie, right? And no one responded. So then
Yeah.
some people thought it was that movie, and some people were like, oh, no one
Was-
responded, so
just-
it's not that movie.
I didn't think it was that movie.
But you watched it, right?
Yeah.
Go get her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
well,
we can always watch another movie.
Yeah, I think we can always watch. I think there's more movies to come, more great episodes. We've been alluding to these non-film, or not non-film, but these episodes that just cover a more esoteric topic and not necessarily a film. And I think I have the sense everyone wants to do it, but no
Yeah,
one actually suggests doing it.
You only ever suggest doing it at the end of a podcast.
and-
After
the
that,
only
you
time-
don't talk
in
about
the
it
podcast.
at,
We're all
ever.
like, yeah, let's do it, and then we never bring it up. So
I'm
hopefully-
just waiting. All I do is just wait for the fucking signal.
all right, we will.
Alright, hit
Hopefully,
record.
we'll have the evil discussion, as well as hopefully some other ones. But it's coming. All right. Bye bye.
Thanks for
Goodbye.
listening.
Bye. Thanks
Yeah.
for listening.
Bye.
Bye.